I think those who are questioning sanctions on Iran, they are not talking just out of the vacuum. They have a background. These people are the very same people who were supporting Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. They were supporting cultural revolution in China, which we know it cost millions of people's lives. I think questioning sanctions against Iran is questioning the international relation and our history of involvement, pro-democratic involvement for the last 50 years. There were sanctions, efficient sanctions against South African regime by United Nations and by Western powers. And we know it was effective because at the end, apartheid is gone. And look, there was apartheid and whole discrimination against the black ethnicity. So now you have a government which discriminating, torturing, shooting, killing the whole population. Women are being stoned because they have been raped. First they have been raped and accused of being raped, then later they are being stoned. And I don't think this is much minor cases if you compare. Of course, any human rights violation is painful, it's bad. But if you compare this with what happened in Pretoria, I think these are quite obvious that they need more attention. People are being killed, abducted just because they wrote blogs. And this is unlike South African government, this is a government that in 1 week you are confiscating 3 arms package, one in Malaysia, one in Thailand, one in Africa, in Gabon and Nigeria. I think 90% of the population in Western Iran, they don't know if there is any armed conflict in Gabon and Senegal. But Iranian government is actively involved in supporting terrorists and globally. In supporting terrorists, there was a report that Iran is actively supporting terrorists in a triangle between Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. They are taking people from there, which is in Amazonas jungles. They are sending to Qom to convert to Shia Islam, and they're sending back to Argentina. This is unbelievable. And so you're dealing with this government. What should we do? There was a time that they wanted to talk. What did they get from the talks? I think those who are questioning the efficiency of sanctions against Iran, they are, let me put it publicly, that they are being compromised or they are naive. They did not read the history. Imagine if we didn't go with sanctions against South Africa. Where was President Mandela right now? Where was this reform? Where was the improvement of human rights? It's useful to track whoever comes out against sanctions in Iran, to track him, to see his comments, to see where what's his political agenda, and why he's criticizing the sanctions. I would say 90% they have financial interest, or they're having problem with global democracy. There are people in the United States from very so-called progressive left, which they are saying United States support of Israel, United States of support of democracy, United States support of Arab Spring is some sort of meddling in internal affair of sovereign nations, and you shouldn't do that. You should just come back to United States and let's do that. I can't argue with them since they don't believe in democracy. I can't argue that sanctions is helping democracy. They don't like democracy. They say democracy is some sort of bourgeois rules. Media and elite in U.S. Congress, they have been compromised with big corporations. I cannot talk to them. They don't like me. They say you want to do the very same mess in Iran. This is not democracy.